You're listening to Let's Talk, the SQPN community podcast. We're live now, and I'm Don Bettinelli, and today I'm joined by Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father Cory.
How's it going, Dom?
Very well, thank you. Folks, you can catch Let's Talk live on Facebook every day this week until Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, and then we'll post it in the Let's Talk podcast feed as audio and on the SQPN YouTube channel as a video. And I say all this week because after Friday, we're going to take a bit of a break for a little bit, get caught up on some things, and then we'll figure out how to bring back Let's Talk live on a regular basis. We're thinking about it. We're going to figure that out. So, but it's good to have you here, Father Cory. Happy Easter.
Well, happy Easter to you as well. A very interesting Easter, but very happy Easter to you.
Yeah. So how was your Easter? How was it different?
The funny part is probably the most relaxed Easter I've had since I was ordained to a deacon. Actually, even before that, because, I would go to parishes and help out as a seminarian.
Yeah.
But this is probably the most relaxed Easter I've ever had because I only had the one Good Friday, Holy Thursday service, the one Good Friday service, the Easter Vigil, and then the one Mass on Easter Sunday. And of course, for those who know my situation up here, I have two mission parishes that I have to drive to on Sunday. I didn't have to do that this year.
Right.
It was just a straight shot, one Mass at the main parish. So it was much less stressful in that aspect, but it was much more interesting as far as doing live streams. I've been doing my live stream Masses and getting those set up. It's kind of funny. I had some parishioners who found out I was doing Masses over in the church, and they would just all of a sudden show up. Oh, well.
Yeah. That's one of the things I was talking about with Melanie was how hard it might be for some priests, just because, Easter, it's all out of sorts to begin with. And then you have Easter Mass live stream of some sort or whatever it is you're able to do. And then you're kind of stuck at home in the rectory for the rest of the day. You can't go to family, although I know your family lives distant, but a lot of priests would normally go to visit their family or friends, and it's just, you're kind of alone in the rectory. So I felt bad for a priest. So hopefully you got a chance to at least talk to your folks and whatnot in the afternoon, maybe via video or something, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I call them every week, or generally every week. So yeah. I got a chance to talk to them and everything, and that's great. But it felt so weird because I'm sitting here in the rectory about 11 o'clock, 11:30, and that's usually when I'm getting ready to go to my last mission. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'm done for the day. I have absolutely nothing left. It's Easter Sunday, and it's just like, okay, now what?
Right.
I mean, I found a way to pass the time, but it's just it was such a weird feeling. It's been such a weird feeling with all this weekends and everything, not being able to go to the missions, not being able to do my normal routines.
Yeah, but there is some beauty in what we are able to do. That we're in one sense, we're privileged to live in the time we do. And I've said this before. We're privileged to live in the time we do, where we can watch a live stream of the Mass. Like, if this had been 10 years ago, it would have been a lot harder to get a live stream of Mass.
The live stream was really just getting started. It was very very
hard.
Primitive technology back then.
I was trying to do it back then.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine Father Barron might have done it.
Yes.
Now Bishop Barron, excuse me. I call him Father Barron because he was. I had a class with him at Mundelein way back when. But Bishop Barron, he probably would have had something figured out, because he's got some pretty tech-savvy people working for him, There's other groups might have had it, but your average priest like me, would I have been able to do a live stream? Probably not. I probably couldn't have afforded the equipment that you needed, because it wasn't just you bring up YouTube, you bring up Facebook, and you hit go live. You needed specialized software that was expensive at the time.
Yeah, I was working for the Archdiocese of Boston at the time, and we were trying to get live stream set up for a radio show we were doing. And we had to buy, I think there was even at the time, it was the inexpensive $1,000 switcher. We got like a donor to fund it, and the cameras weren't cheap, and it was a lot harder than it is now. Now you get a webcam and even just your phone or iPad or whatever, and you're on. And I think it's great. It's kind of funny because a decade ago, I was trying to help parishes to say these are important things to have a good website, have a good email list, even figure out a way to have video streaming for people who are stuck at home. Well, we've kind of proven why those were important things.
And that was one of the things kind of funny is a couple of months ago, I just sat down and I had thrown up a really basic WordPress website for our parish because it was a lot better than the one that had Flash animation on it or Java animation. This was even before Flash.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it was painful. And it just threw it up there and okay, it's done. It's like, one day I should sit down and simplify it. And so I did. I got a, much more simpler WordPress interface and everything on it. And boy, I'm glad I did that because now I can use it where I can post things to very easily and, kind of keep it updated much easier just because I took that time to make the parish website usable.
Yes. And those things were proven. So it's important now. So, one of the things that people probably know is that you gave an Easter message for the StarQuest, the SQPN community that we put out in all the different podcast feeds. So if you subscribe to multiple SQPN podcasts, which a lot of people do, you got it multiple times. But wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to hear it. But it was a great message and very hopeful, very positive, and I'm so glad that we could distribute that.
Well, I appreciate that. I was commenting to Don beforehand as I got ready to go do my run yesterday. And I opened up my podcast, the Google podcast, and all of a sudden, message from Father Cory. It's like, oh, okay.
we only do that occasionally for very important messages where we put one in every feed. But I thought this was for Christmas and Easter. Those messages are very important. I want to remind folks of what we're here, what we're about. We talk about Doctor Who or Star Trek or Star Wars, but what we're really about at the most fundamental part of our mission is to talk about Jesus Christ. And
Absolutely.
So that message of Jesus Christ is so very important to me and just to make sure that we're bringing it all back to him. So this is a great opportunity at these holidays, especially. So we got to do it. So one of the things I wanted to mention is, or kind of chat with you about is ways that we could probably celebrate Easter all week long, because as we know, Easter is not one day. It's an octave. It's 8 days. Every day is like Easter in the church for this whole week, which I love that idea. And so what are ways do you think maybe we could celebrate Easter all week long besides getting candy every day? Which
of course you got to have the Easter candy every day and Easter eggs and things like that.
Yeah.
It should be a time of celebration. I think the first thing is, we just talked about the live stream masses. Every day watch the octave masses whether it's the ones I do from my little chapel room here in about 20 minutes or so, or the ones that you can find from the cathedrals or the extraordinary four masses or whatever you can find. That's probably the best thing you could do.
That's true.
Take some time every day for the prayer of Easter. Whatever it might be, just to pray. Whatever other traditions you might have around Easter. Obviously I'm not saying you have to set up Easter egg hunts or obviously keep the decoration. If you got Easter decorations, keep them up, and keep reminding, especially those of you who have young kids, keep reminding them this is still Easter. We are still celebrating this important feast day, read about the events of Easter, read about in the Bible, especially read the scriptures, the stories of the Acts of the Apostles after the event, how at this, if you figure this time right after Easter, after our Lord rose from the dead, the apostles and the followers are still going, what happened?
That's right. Yeah. One of the things I'd recommend is subscribe to our Pray Station Portable podcast at SQPN and pray the Liturgy of the Hours all week. Some of the most beautiful prayers in the Liturgy of the Hours are during the Easter octave.
Absolutely.
I love them. I love them so much. All right, Father Cory, I'm going to switch gears on you because we had a great question in the chat room from Jason there who asks, what's your favorite Easter candy?
Oh, that's the tough question.
I'm going to say it's the Reese's peanut butter eggs, like the little, so it's Reese's, basically Reese's peanut butter cups shaped like an egg, because what's better than Reese's peanut butter cups for me? I love them the most, but that's my favorite.
I'm tossed up between the jelly beans, especially I'm going to say something very controversial. I love the black licorice jelly beans.
Okay. I'm with you. I like all jelly beans. My family is like, oh, I only like the green ones. Oh, I only like what? They're jelly beans.
Give them to me.
More for
but
me.
It's between that or, of course, the Cadbury cream eggs.
Yeah. I was never huge on that, but I get that. Speaking of jelly beans, if you look up here, I'm going to point there, right there in my live stream, you can see that's the jelly bean jar.
I noticed you got it as far away from you and as high as possible.
It's not like here where I can reach it, but it's also in here where the kids can't reach it. They have their own candy. So that's a great question. Thank you for that, Jason, for that question. That's a great. What are the listeners? What do you and the viewers? What do you like is for Easter candy? Let us know. And then also in the chat, Bob McWilliams said he took my advice and watched Risen last night with his family. I hope you liked it, Bob. I really enjoy that. It is a great movie. Really good recent movie. So as I always have been doing, I want to do my T-shirt of the day. This is my special shirt today. I'm going to stand up so people can see it. It says it's a little hard to read. Let me get in there. It says "Visit the Sanctuary Moon," and it looks like a nice pastoral scene. Although what's that? I'm reversed. Oh, that's the Death Star. So, yes, remember the Emperor calls the moon of Endor in Star Wars the Sanctuary Moon. So, just don't visit it during lockdown. Wait till after
you get out. You might not be able to, anyways. The Empire might have it shut down due to concerns.
Yes, and we don't want to infect the Ewoks. Yes.
Nope.
So, all right, so that's my T-shirt of the day. Let's move on to our recommendations. Father Cory, what do you have for folks for today for a recommendation?
So speaking of a sci-fi series, in 1978, there was this really kind of cheesy science fiction TV show called Battlestar Galactica. However, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the 2003 to 2009 version, which was arguably, I still think, is one of the best, if not the best, science fiction TV shows ever produced. I mean, the special effects, which admittedly some of them look a little dated now, almost 20 years on, but still look good.
Yep.
Especially the fighting scenes. The space scenes look incredible still.
Yep.
The storylines until the end. Spoiler. I'm one of those. I don't like the end of it, but the entire rest of the series is fantastic. Ronald Moore, who of course is known from Star Trek, is what he's mostly known for. Before Battlestar Galactica, he created it, and it's just an amazing series. And I bring it up because it's free to watch on the Sci-Fi Channel's homepage, sci-fi, syfy.com, till like July 31st, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
You can watch the entire thing from the miniseries that started it all off all the way through 4 seasons. Amazing. It really is. And the series itself holds up. Like I said, some of the special effects might not stand up quite as well, but the whole storyline and the whole act, of course, it's filmed. It's the first one to really use the handy cams effectively and have the kind of the real dynamic space scenes and everything, where it's not like Star Trek where the two ships are facing off each other at exactly even levels and everything.
Although even Star Trek has picked up on that now, like you've noticed, like in Discovery and in Picard, it's got that style a lot more.
You got more true 3D space battle versus where the Klingons and the Enterprise are like nose to nose facing each other down.
Right.
You don't have. It really, Battlestar Galactica was the first where they're coming from all different angles, all different sides. It's just an incredible series. I was when I posted it on Facebook about this being available, a cousin of mine said, "Oh yeah, I loved it on Fridays when you could watch the Sci-Fi Channel and you had Battlestar Galactica and 2 Stargates."
Oh yeah,
and I forgot about that. There was a point, I think it was when the series first started, that you had Battlestar Galactica first, SG-1, and then Atlantis, Stargate Atlantis. Yeah. And it's like, those were the best Friday evenings ever.
I know. I loved Stargate. Like, I love Battlestar Galactica too, but I loved Stargate. I loved the feel of the show, the humor that was in it, especially when it was Richard Dean Anderson, star of SG-1. But one of these days, you and I have talked, one of these days we're going to do a Secrets of Stargate podcast.
Absolutely.
When we have more time
we
than we
got
have.
time and all this, free time we have. Actually, that would be the time to do it. But
Yeah,
at least for me.
But it's because I loved it, and I was always disappointed when they ended Stargate Universe. It was just getting off the ground. It was so good, and
right.
There's talk of bringing Stargate back. I'd love to see Stargate.
There's kind of ongoing rumors, but yeah, it was great though that that when Battlestar Galactica came out, it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, it really was. It was groundbreaking for science fiction.
The characters were great. Like they had great characters. They had like Baltar was this. It was played so well, but the actors. Oh, what was his name? The actor who played Baltar. I forget his name. So good.
James Callan or something like that.
Yes, Callan. Edward James Olmos, a world class actor.
He just eats up the scenery on his own. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, just like they had across the board such great actors and great, and really interesting concepts and philosophical concepts. And one of the things that actually, speaking of SQPN, is I remember listening back in the day to Secrets of Battlestar Galactica with Xena and Jeff Liss, who are the hosts. And today, my wife and I are friends with them. But back then I was like, oh, Jeff and Xena are really great. I really love this. This is long before I was involved with SQPN. So it's a lot of fun. They had a great podcast, and I think we've got it in our archive somewhere. If people are
might have to dig it out at some point and check it out.
Dig it out and make that available to folks if they want to get that, because if go watch binge Battlestar Galactica, listen to the podcast. I think that would be a great idea.
So if you're looking for some, that's my recommendation. If you're at that point now where you feel like you've watched everything on Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and here you go. Here's something else you probably haven't watched in 20 years almost.
Or if you didn't get a chance.
It's hard to believe, but it's been, almost, it'll be 17 years since the miniseries came out.
Wow. Gosh, I feel like I'm so old these days. Everything is like 20 years ago.
This, so I mean, that's hard to believe, but that's what it was.
Well, that's a great recommendation, and I'm gonna actually follow up, and I'm gonna watch it too, because I've been meaning to rewatch BSG for a while. So my recommendation is, folks, keep a journal these days. Get a diary going, a journal. There's journal apps. Or a journal book. I think it would be so good to have a record of in these unprecedented times, the way we're doing things. I think your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids someday will love to read about what it was like for you to live through this. I would have loved to have a journal of what it was like for my grandparents, say, living through the Depression or the influenza epidemic. My grandparents lived through that. My dad's parents lived through that. So it would be great for your kids, your grandkids, to have your thoughts and what was like and what did people do, so they don't have to just read about it in a history book. They don't have to read your Facebook feed. God forbid those things are still around when my great grandkids are around. That my Facebook feed is. But your own words and your own thoughts. So get a journal going and keep a record of what it was like for you and the family now. I think that would be really useful, really great. So
yeah, that's something we definitely don't think about, is we are living through very unprecedented times, at least in our lifetimes. It's been 100 years since we've had any kind of real shutdowns like this.
Yep.
And stuff like this happening. So it'll be interesting to, if nothing else, just for ourselves, to look back in 5-10 years and I remember when.
Yes. I mean, I wish I'd kept a journal at the time of 9/11, frankly, and what that was like to live through those days. I have memories of it, but I wasn't writing about it like in a journal or a diary, and it would have been good to have it. So think about it. So those are our recommendations for today. So as we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank our patrons, whose generous donations make it possible for us to create Let's Talk and all the shows on StarQuest, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. We'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by visiting sqpn.com or the SQPN Facebook page at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or you can send an email to letstalk@sqpn.com. Until next time, Father Cory Sticha, thank you for joining me on Let's Talk.
Well, thank you, Don, both for having me and for all the work you've been doing with the Let's Talk streams.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just caretaking this for you until someday you could do it once again. Anyway, and once again, I'm Don Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk on StarQuest.